Hello again, everyone. Welcome to your weekly sports report. I'm the Phenom Anis Melham, and as always, I'm with
the big man, Sonny Dio.
All right, we're talking Wimbledon. We're talking ATP tennis. We're talking PGA. Wimbledon kicked off on July the 2nd, where there have been a lot of crazy upsets. It's as though all of the people in the ATP looked at the World Cup and said, fuck you, we can do better. The amount of upsets in this tournament so far are absolutely crazy. As it stands right now in the women's field, the second seed, the third seed, the fourth seed, the fifth seed, the sixth seed, and the eighth seed have all been eliminated after the second round. This is just absolutely unbelievable. And we're talking Caroline Wozniacki, Gabrielle Muguruza, that's a little bit of a Sloane Stevens of the U.S., Alina Svitolina of Ukraine, Caroline Garcia of France, and Petra Kvitova of the Czech Republic. No surprise, Serena Williams is still in, but Maria Sharapova was also kicked out. I'll get into a little bit of what happened in the women's game. Of course, we'll always talk about the men's game. Where we really wanted to start with, besides just all of the upsets that we've been seeing, is the big deal between Uniqlo and the greatest there ever was and the greatest there ever will be, Roger Federer. 10-year, $300 million contract. He loses Nike. And Uniqlo is going to be what he's wearing from now on. Except he'll continue to wear the Nike sneakers because Uniqlo doesn't make shoes.
I honestly don't even know what Uniqlo is.
Okay, Uniqlo is a Japanese company.
Yeah.
They make sports apparel.
Yeah.
They actually have they want to get to about $10 billion in U.S. sales by 2020.
Yeah, and you said
they're at about 7 to 8, and they're about 17 billion globally, I believe.
You said 10 years, $300 million?
That's right. He's making $30 million a year to wear Uniqlo apparel. And this guy is 37 years old in a month.
Yeah, I'd love Uniqlo too then.
Yeah, I think he said, fuck you to Nike, and he started wearing other Uniqlo. Look, here's the thing. Uniqlo, as a Japanese sports apparel company, wants to grow. They want to grow in America. They want to grow in Europe. And they look at Roger Federer, because they make tennis clothes and stuff like that as well, that they look at a guy like Roger Federer and they believe that this guy has marketing appeal that goes years beyond him retiring in tennis. And I agree with them. Roger Federer is a very marketable guy, very personable guy, someone that you can put in front of a camera. I mean, he's an athlete, so, he's in shape, and, he speaks English.
Good role model. Everything.
Absolutely great role model. Never been in trouble.
Yeah.
He's just as clean cut as they come. He's classy and he's a winner.
And he's somebody everybody likes.
Everybody likes.
I've never actually heard of somebody be like, I don't like Roger Federer.
Yeah.
You just like the guy.
Exactly. He's complete. Like, he is the perfect front man for Uniqlo to grow their North American and European business. Great move by them. And, I think Arfed looks pretty good in the Uniqlo silks. I mean, I saw him after his first and second match and doing just fine. It hasn't affected his play.
He's $30 million per year. I think he's going to be fine.
He was actually just making $10 million per year with his Nike contract.
That's surprising. I thought
so
he would be
triple.
Making more. That's actually really surprising.
Yeah, you'd think, but the thing is, tennis doesn't. Nike doesn't care as much about tennis, right? Like,
they have LeBron James, all these.
That's what I'm saying. They're still kicking Jordans, man. Jordan retired 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Jordan retired 20 years ago. They're still kicking Jordans and selling them like they're hotcakes. So, I mean, at the end of this, I'm really just wanted to start with Federer there because he is my absolute favorite of all time in tennis. And the fact that a guy who is 3 days younger than me, okay?
Holy shit, aging yourself there.
I am. He's 3 days younger than me, but he's still the world's ranked number one, has 9 Wimbledon titles. Jeez. Like, this guy's just insane. I think he's got 20 titles total. You know what I mean? And still ranked number one at his age. So
he's like the Ric Flair of tennis.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think so. But let's go back to what we were saying before. Let's start off with some of the women's games just because it's been so crazy. American Sloane Stevens, who was fourth ranked, lost to 55th ranked Donna Vekic of Croatia. This is a first round loss, by the way. Ukrainian Elena Svitolina, who was fifth ranked, lost to 57th ranked Tatiana Maria of Germany, also in the first round. Caroline Garcia of France lost to unseeded Belita Bencic of Switzerland in the first round. And then I believe 28-year-old Petra Kvitova, who's eighth seeded, also lost in the first round. And for some reason, prior to Wimbledon, she was considered the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. Lost to Alexandra Sasnovich in 3 sets. In the second round, in the women's circuit, we had Gabrine Muguruza, who is the third-ranked player. She won her first round matchup against Brody of Spain of Britain, and then lost her second round matchup against Alison van Uytvanck of Belgium. So that was another one. That's what knocked out all the other top seeds there between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. First ranked though, Simona Halep of Romania defeated Nara of Japan in the first round, and then Zhang of China in straight sets in the second round. So she's off to the third round, and honestly, it almost feels like there's nobody to stop her except the Williams sisters.
Yeah, they're always around too.
The Williams sisters, both of which who won their first and second round matchups. Now, Venus is still top 10. She's ranked 9th. She defeated Larsson of Sweden in the first round, and she defeated Dulgera of Romania in 3 sets in the second round. And then there's the greatest women's player I've ever seen, Serena Williams, who is playing, I think, her first tournament as a mother. Yeah. And for that reason, her ranking dropped to 25.
That's the only reason she's dropped.
Exactly. It's the only reason she's dropped. She's 25th rank. She beat Roos of Holland in the first round, and then now she's defeated Tomova of Bulgaria in straight sets, and she's moving on. So honestly, while Simona Halep is probably going to cruise through the next few rounds here, making it all the way through near to the end, I think at some point she's going to run into one of the Williams sisters, and that's probably lights out at that point. She might beat Venus. But I don't know if I can see her beating Serena. Serena's just too good.
But it's her first tournament, though, right?
Yeah, her first tournament since being a mother.
She could be rusty.
She could be, but I mean, I think by the time she gets back out there, and she'll just, I mean, this is like second nature to her. She's been doing this her whole life. It'll just be like, catching a groove, and her power is really, that's her game, right? Like,
and how it's worked out with a lot of the top names dropping out. It's like a good storybook too.
Absolutely.
It's like it's kind of meant to be that way.
Yeah, everybody all the top seeds are basically gone. So when you get to the nitty gritty, now for the first time in her career, Maria Sharapova lost in the first round. Now, I think she was ranked like 25th or 24th. She was ranked 24th. She lost in the first round for the first time. She was actually 13-0. And was riding a 10-game winning streak against Russian players when she fell 7-6, 6-7, 4-6 to fellow Russian Vitalia Dyachenko. And she was actually just killing it, at least in the first round. But killing it against other Russians before she lost. Actually, this was the first time that she lost in the first round since the Australian Open back in 2010. So, to be honest, it's a little bit of a shock, but to be honest with you, like ever since she came back from her doping scandal,
Sharapova for a while.
I mean, ever since the doping scandal, she hasn't really been a very strong player.
From the Sharapova that was #1 in the world. It's not. She's not that anymore.
Shades of her former self. Yeah, no kidding. As for Kvitova, it's been a tough season for her. She fell in the first round as well in Melbourne. In the Australian Open, and then in the third round in the French Open. So, losing now again in the first round. I mean, this is a tough year for her to be eliminated so early in 3 of the majors. I think the U.S. Open's coming up in a couple of months here, so she has a chance to redeem herself or salvage something of the year. But overall, I mean, it's stunning. Like, it's just a lot of big losses. Here's something that won't surprise you. After winning her first round matchup against British Taylor, Eugenie Bouchard lost to Ashley Barty of Australia in straight sets.
Yeah, it's starting to seem like that initial run she had was just a little bit of luck.
Oh yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, because she hasn't done anything since then.
They saw a pretty chick and decided, hey, she's going to be the face of women's tennis now.
She is a pretty chick.
I know that, yeah. But I'm just saying.
But it's just like after that initial run, the drop-off has been so significant.
Yeah.
It's kind of like things just went the right way.
Here's the thing. There are a lot of beautiful women in tennis.
Yeah, there are.
You know what I mean? So I really look at it as that there are a lot of great athletes in women's tennis, but being in North America, there are barely any that are Canadian or American that are at the top of their game, except for except for the Williams sisters.
And that's lately it's mostly been Serena too.
So here we go. I mean, out of the top 10, I mean, there are 3 Americans right now. But Simona Halep of Romania was ranked first going into Wimbledon. Caroline Wozniacki of Denmark second, and she fell today. Caroline Wozniacki lost in a second round upset to unseeded Kate Makarova of Russia. Wozniacki actually came into Wimbledon having won the Australian Open, which was her first major. Yeah. So she was coming in riding high.
Yeah.
You know, lost in the second set to a Russian. That's a big setback for her.
Yeah.
Gabrielle Muguruza, as I mentioned, of Spain, also went down. Sloane Stephens of the U.S. went down. Elena Svitolina of Ukraine was 5th ranked. She went down. Caroline Garcia of France, 6th. She went down. Karolina Pliskova of the Czech Republic is 7th, still kicking. Petra Kvitova of the Czech Republic as well, 8th. She went down. Venus Williams is still in. And Madison Keys of the United States, rounding out the top 10, still in this. But honestly, if you only have 3 of the top 10 left, maybe 4, and then you have Serena, who is really, in my mind, the true number 1.
Yeah, and like we said, it seems like it's just destined for her to win this one.
I think so. I think
because everybody keeps dropping the people that would give her challenges.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyone that would give her a challenge seems to have dropped off the face of the earth. It looks like she's probably going to cruise through. Let's move over to the men's game, where some of the men actually haven't fared much better. 3 of the top 10 seeds. Grigor Dimitrov, who was 6th, David Goffin, who was 10th, and Dominic Thiem, who was 7th, also lost in the first round. So I'll go back and tell you the top 10. Roger Federer, as we mentioned, Rafael Nadal, Marin Cilic, who actually lost today.
Yeah,
so he went down.
That's crazy how it's been Nadal and Federer for this freaking long, both of them.
They're incredible.
Yeah, it's just insane.
Alexander Zverev of Germany, who is the youngest player in the top 20.
Yeah.
At 21 years old.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They're getting younger, man.
Oh, yeah. This guy, I think he might be the future of tennis.
If he's already in the top 10 at the age of 21, he's going to make... Well, you never know.
He's making some noise.
But he should improve, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially when you look at Nadal and Federer. I mean, their time is it's not going to be much longer, right?
It's kind of like ripe for the picking to become the face of tennis.
I mean,
their time... 2 older guys on top right now.
Exactly. Their time is slowly coming to an end, and someone's got to pick up the ball, right? Juan Martin Del Potro of Argentina is 5th. Grigor Dimitrov, as mentioned, Bulgaria was 6th. Dominic Thiem of Austria, 7th. And Kevin Anderson of South Africa, 8th. John Eisner of the USA is 9th. David Goffin of Belgium was ranked 10th. Sam Querrey of the USA was ranked 11th. And the reason why I kept going after the top 10, number 12, Novak Djokovic, number 13, Milos Raonic. that were ranked going into Wimbledon. So I wanted to mention those guys because those are some familiar names to some of our listeners. Now, after his first round matchup of Sela and Israel, who he beat in straight sets, Rafael Nadal defeats Kukushkin of Kazakhstan in straight sets in the second round matchup. So he's moving on. No surprise there. You expected that. To note on Kukushkin, he beat Pospisil, and you know, he's a Canadian.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention that Kukushkin beat Pospisil in the first round in 4 sets, but then went down in straight sets to Nadal. I don't think he expected to win that matchup anyway.
I think winning the one matchup was something he'd be happy with himself.
Novak Djokovic, ranked 12th as mentioned, beats American Sandgren in the first round. And then he was unseeded, and then he went on to defeat Horacio Zeballos of Argentina in straight sets in the second round.
He was the guy to replace Federer, and
he still could be. He had injury problems.
Yeah, if he gets healthy.
But he's not that young either, right?
He's not that young either anymore. That's
he's not a kid. You know, he's not a kid.
Even if he gets healthy and gets back to his form, it's not like he's 24, right?
Absolutely, exactly. As we mentioned, Alexander Zverev of Germany, who I just mentioned a minute ago, is the youngest top 20 player in ATP at 21 years old, and he's 4th, so he's pretty damn good anyway. Defeats Duckworth of Australia in his first round, but his second round matchup against Taylor Fritz was suspended. So we'll see what happens when they pick that one up, probably tomorrow, maybe even later on today. As I mentioned, Pospisil went down. Let's get some others. Here's, I mentioned, Marian Cilic, third seeded out of Croatia, lost a 5-set thriller to Guido Pella of Argentina. So Guido Pella will be moving on into the third round. That one was a close match, but you know, again, if you're the third seed in the world, it's expected that you're going to win your second round matchup. Didn't happen. Roger Federer cruised through his first 2 matchups against Lajovic of Slovakia, and then Lacko of Slovakia. So he's just beating up on Slovaks on his way, probably back to another Wimbledon title, because he owns this tournament. He completely owns it.
That'd be 10, man. That would be crazy.
It's his.
Yeah.
I got a ring for every finger, basically, or at least a Wimbledon. They don't give you rings, but you know what I mean. They give you championships, you know, for every finger
He'll
on
make
there.
his own rings, man.
He will. He'll just make a Wimbledon ring. They should just call it the Roger Federer Open. You know.
Yeah.
Milos Raonic wins his first matchup in straight sets, and then went back and defeated, and that was against Brody of England, of Britain. I know there's a Brody in men's and women's, both are British.
Yeah.
So, and he defeated Millman, I believe, of Australia in straight sets in a tiebreaker. It was all in a tiebreaker. So it's straight sets, but all 3 sets went to tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So Raonic is actually doing what another Canadian is not doing, and that other guy is Denis Shapovalov. So after winning his first matchup against Chardy of France, he lost to Benoit Paire of France in 4 sets, with the 4th set being a tiebreaker. And he's not good in tiebreakers, and he's not good on grass.
Yeah.
He's 3 for 6 lifetime on grass, and he just seems to not have the patience when it comes to tiebreakers to actually wait for it to come to him. He's 28th ranked in the world, I believe, or is he 26th?
26th, I think.
He's 26th. And honestly, though, it's not really a big deal. Shapovalov is 19 years old. He's been around for a few years because he's really good. So people have heard his name being thrown about for a little while, and maybe they're expecting more out of him, but he's still a kid. At 19 years old, to be one of the top 30 players in the world, I mean, this guy's still killing it. And I think long term, he's probably the best hope that Canada has for any major championship. That is it for tennis this week. We'll follow up. Probably by next time we hear, we'll have a champion in Wimbledon at that point, and we'll recap the rest of the tournament. Starting July the 19th to the 22nd, PGA Open Championship, also known as the British Open, will take place at Carnoustie Golf Links in Carnoustie, Scotland. So, what do you need to know going into the British Open? Who you should probably be cheering for. Everybody has their favorite golfer. And this guy isn't my favorite, but I'm going to go for 19th ranked Sergio Garcia when it comes to the British Open. Why? Well, following his Masters Championship in 2017, it was his first championship. It was like a massive weight was lifted off of this guy's shoulder. He finally broke through and won a championship. Garcia also got married, and he had a baby. So life is pretty good for Sergio Garcia going into the Open Championship.
Honestly, I always liked Sergio Garcia, though.
Yeah, he's a class
He
act.
was like, I remember for a while, he was like that other, almost that other guy when Tiger was around. You know,
It really
what I mean?
was, yeah. It was always that step behind him and Phil Mickelson and Vijay Singh.
Even though you thought, okay, maybe he can pull something off.
Yeah.
He never did it.
Never did it.
But you thought he might be able to.
So finally last year he did pull something off. Now, besides winning at the Open, besides that win rather, the Open Championship has been Sergio Garcia's best major from a performance standpoint. Now, throughout his career, he has finished in the top 10 times in the British Open.
He's been consistent.
Now, listen to this, but this is why I'm picking him to be the guy that to cheer for. The last time, which was in 2007, that they held the British Open in Carnoustie in Scotland, where they're holding it this year.
Yeah.
The last time they held it there was in 2007. Sergio Garcia lost in a playoff to Padraig Harrington. So, honestly, he's actually performed at this course. And, coming off sort of a good year where he finally won something, this would be the ultimate year, I think, for Garcia, where, besides the personal, the good things going well in his personal life, winning the Masters last year, it would sort of be the icing on the cake where he would win, where he almost won last time around, same spot. And maybe this time he wins in a playoff. That would be pretty cool.
It would be a cool story.
That would be a cool story. But going in hot to the British Open is Francesco Molinari of Italy, who delivered a record performance to win the final edition of the Quicken Loans National. He nailed a 50-foot eagle putt to start the back nine and just ran away with it from there last Sunday at the TPC Potomac at Avenel Farm. The Italian closed with an 8 under 62 for an 8-shot victory. An 8-shot victory. So it wasn't close.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a pretty big-ass victory.
And he actually matched the largest margin of victory on the PGA Tour this year by winning that 8-shot with that 8-shot lead. Now, he followed that eagle putt that I mentioned earlier with an approach 2 feet on the 11th hole, which is one of the hardest par 4s on the entire tour. And that yielded only one other birdie in the final round, but he made 3 more birdies and ended by missing a birdie putt from 8 feet out. But no matter, his lead was so big that he still blew away the field. And it could have been 9. It actually could have been the largest margin of victory on the PGA Tour this year, if he hadn't lost that one birdie, if he hadn't messed it up. Doesn't matter. He actually finished at 21 under par. And broke the tournament record by 7 shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broke the tournament record by 7 shots.
It's crazy because you don't even hear that much about this guy.
No. Yeah, not really. Here, this is as of July the 1st. I'm just going to read out maybe the top 20 players in ranking. And this is considering we still have a couple of weeks from now until this starts. So we'll talk about it a little bit more, and I'll do a little preview of the British Open next week.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more, and we'll recap Wimbledon. So that'll be a nice little show.
Yeah.
But as of July 1st, just just under 3 weeks from the beginning of the beginning of the British Open. Dustin Johnson is your number 1 ranked player. Justin Thomas is your second. Justin Rose is third. Brooks Koepka is fourth. All American except for Justin Rose, who's English. John Ram is sixth from Spain. Jordan Spieth, fifth. I don't know why that's not in order, but
Yeah. Nice ranking system.
Nice ranking system, golf. Thank you. Rory McIlroy is seventh. Now, he's gone 4 years without a major, and when they asked him about it, he actually says he doesn't care. It doesn't keep him up at night that he hasn't won a major in 4 years. And I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. I just want to finish off the top 20. Ricky Fowler of USA is 8th. Jason Day of Australia is 9th. Tommy Fleetwood of England is 10th. Patrick Reed of the US is 11th. Bubba Watson of the US is 12th. Paul Casey of England is 13th. Alex Noren of Sweden is 14th. Hideki Matsuyama of Japan is 15th. Francesco Molinari of Italy, who we just talked about, is 16th. Henrik Stenson of Sweden, 17th. Mark Leishman of Australia, 18th. Sergio Garcia, 19th. Phil Mickelson rounds out the top 20. Now, I wanted to get there because you've got guys that would kill for one. And a guy like Sergio, who's been on the tour for a very long time, over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been really good. 14, 15 years he's been on the tour. Finally got a major title last year, hoping he can get a second one. And yet you have Rory McIlroy, former number 1, who I think he has 3 or 4 majors.
Yeah.
Goes 4 years without winning one. That's 16 majors that have gone.
Yeah.
He hasn't won shit, and he doesn't care.
I think saying that's just a punk thing to say because you're there to compete. You're supposed to be winning. But I think he's full of shit too, though.
You're probably right.
I can't see a guy that was at one time when Tiger started falling off considered the next guy to be like, oh, I don't care if I win or lose.
Yep.
It just doesn't sound right.
Doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And maybe that's why he isn't winning if he has that attitude.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what's costing him all these tournaments.
I mean, that's sort of what we talked about last week, is that there is a lot of competition. It's a lot of strong competition.
It definitely seems so.
And with the field being as close as it is, anyone can literally win at any time. It seems every single time you have a major championship, like just a different winner. It's not like you're getting someone to come in and just
dominate the field.
Nobody's dominating. No. It's wide open. So from that angle, I can sort of see his point, if that's what it is, and that's how I'm going to interpret it, meaning that there's a lot of really good players out there. It's my turn today, it's his turn tomorrow. Yeah. And if that's where he's coming from, I understand.
But saying I don't care.
But saying it doesn't keep me up at night.
Yeah.
It's not,
Rory, it should keep you up at night, buddy.
It should.
Yeah.
It should. I mean, why else are you doing this?
Exactly. You're there to compete. I get it. The paycheck is nice. I get that. But you're a competitor. You're an athlete.
Exactly.
You're supposed to want to win. You're supposed to have that drive.
Yeah.
And, you shouldn't be saying that. I think that would just turn off people who are fans of him. I think it would turn them off. Why do you want to cheer for a guy who's saying, I'm not trying? I don't give a shit.
It somewhat turned me off a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did for me after hearing that. Yeah.
I've been a fan of McIlroy for a while, and to sort of see him say that it doesn't keep me up. I used to get pissed off when people would score a goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nothing game.
If I lose a PBHL, I'm up all night, man.
Yeah.
I'm up all night even if we win, too, by the way.
So, July 19th to the 22nd, the Open Championship in Carnoustie, Scotland. We'll be back with a preview of the tournament next week and tell you a little bit more about what to expect. Tune in for that. Thank you very much for listening.
See ya.